Hi, welcome back to Not Only Code. I'm Gregory and today I'm going to talk about job hopping. Why job hopping, despite its bad reputation, works and it helps you to increase the salary quite quickly, and how even though I never planned it, I changed my job 3 times the last 2 years and I doubled my salary during this time. As always, if you enjoy my content, make sure to like this video, to leave a comment and to subscribe to my channel. And now, let's start. So job hopping is the situation where someone changes jobs frequently, let's say once a year for a couple years. And people often are afraid of being labeled job hoppers because it gets you kind of a bad reputation among employers and recruiters. And if you change job 2 times in 2 years, then you might hear questions like, why are you leaving your current job so soon, only 9 months in? On the other hand, job hopping is a way to relatively quickly increase your salary by quite a lot. You know that if you stay in the same company for a couple years, usually during the annual performance review, you will get 2 to 5% raise, while if you jump to other company you might get 10, 20, maybe 30% raise, depending on what kind of company you're applying. Of course, there are different ways to increase your salary, maybe to get promoted or to go to a company that pays top of the market, but that's not always possible. And job hopping allows you to relatively quickly, even while staying on the same level, raise your salary at least up to some level above which it might be much harder. And currently in the tech industry among software developers, job hopping, even though it's still labeled as negative by employers and recruiters, it is kind of normal. People see that employees are changing jobs relatively often because there are a lot of reasons why you want to change a job. It's not only because you want to get a higher salary. It might be because your current company sucks, and a lot of companies suck. Maybe because your current company is totally different than how they presented themselves during the interview. Maybe because your manager is an asshole. Maybe because you tried to change things for the better but nobody's interested in doing quality work. There are tons of reasons why people might be changing jobs quite frequently. I've been a hiring manager for a couple of years, and whenever I see that someone changes jobs frequently, I ask about it during the interview because I'm genuinely curious. What are these people looking for? You know, if I'm about to hire someone and they will leave after 7 months, then that hire probably is a net negative for the team because a few months of onboarding and support from other team members, and the moment that someone starts being productive and starts providing the value for the company, they are leaving. Nobody wants such situation. So I always ask about it, but I must say that I do not reject candidates just because they change jobs often, and I think very few people have the comfort and the privilege of doing that. With such a huge demand for software developers, even if you change a job a couple times the last couple of years, you will have no problem getting interviews. And that's the first of 2 reasons why job hopping works. The huge demand for software developers right now means that people are getting interviews even if there are some, let's call them yellow flags in their resumes. And the second reason I think is more interesting. The second reason why job hopping works is that companies are absolutely terrible when it comes to employee retention. A lot of companies have absolutely no idea how to keep their current employees motivated. Before you sign a contract, they are willing to negotiate. They will give you 20% on top of your current salary. The moment you sign the contract, it's all over. The next time you ask for a raise, you will get 2%, you will get 3%. You will never get a double-digit % salary raise unless you get promoted. And you know, that thing is not limited to jobs and to software industry. Think about when you're looking for a new mobile provider or a cloud provider or some other service. When you're a new customer, you will get some discounts. You will get 50% off for the first 3 months of your mobile contract. But once those 3 months pass, you're paying full price and you will never be treated as well as you were as a new client. And here's the thing, keeping the current customer and similarly, keeping current employees is easier than getting new customers and new employees. There is always some resistance to change among people because in order to find a new job, you need to start interviewing. You never know whether the new job will actually be better. You need to spend some time practicing, maybe grinding lead code, etc. So people are happy staying in their current place, but if they see that the company does nothing to keep them, and they can change and find maybe a better environment and get even more salary, then that change becomes very tempting. There are tons of other ways in which employers lose employees. There are problems with the poor working culture, terrible work-life balance. Maybe the employer does not allow developers to build high-quality software. Maybe the projects are all the same and boring and there are no growth opportunities. There are tons of reasons why people are leaving companies. But that's a topic for another video. In the meantime, let's talk about job hopping and how I doubled my salary in 2 years. So in 2019, I worked in Rotterdam in the Netherlands as a software developer for a smaller company that was owned by a bigger corporation. It was a pretty chilled job. I had a lot of time for writing code. There were not many deadlines, but the job was kind of boring and I wanted to find something more ambitious. To be fair, I was paid relatively well for someone working in Rotterdam as a lead developer. In comparison with other companies that I had talked to in Rotterdam, I had pretty decent salary. So it wasn't jumping from junior to senior or anything like that. So in late 2019, I switched to another company. I moved back to engineering manager role. I moved to Amsterdam and I joined another small company that was owned by a bigger corporation. Together with that change, even though I stayed more or less on the same level, I got 25% salary raise. I stayed in that job for 12 months. Unfortunately, things didn't go very well and me and a couple developers, my team, decided to leave the company around the same time. So I moved to another company, also in Amsterdam, also as an engineering manager. This time it was a startup. And with the move, I negotiated around 15% raise. So a year after leaving the first company, I was making around 43% more than in the beginning. Again, that company just sounded really cool when I joined it and the interview was really great. But you know how it is. Sometimes you join a company and everything seems great, but then you look under the rug and you open some closets and there are lots of skeletons there. So long story short, I decided to leave after a couple of months, and this time I thought, hey, I don't want to just look for small companies anymore. I never wanted to work in large corporations because I always thought that they are full of bureaucracy and toxicity. But my career taught me that startups also can be quite toxic and bureaucratic. Eventually, I ended up in a bigger company, also working as an engineering manager on a similar level, but with a total compensation, including all the bonus and equity, being around 40% higher than what I made in a past company. So including these free salary raises that I got every time I jumped a company, my current total compensation is around 2 times higher than it was 2 years before. I got 25% raise, then 15% raise, then 40% raise, and that makes it twice as much. Once again, I never planned to job hop. Whenever I join a company, I hope that I will stay there for like 4 or 5 years. I really like to stay in one company and understand it well, learn the product, etc. You know, it happens. Even when I did the reverse interview that I talked about earlier this year, even though I checked Glassdoor, I checked LinkedIn, I talked to some people from that company, I still wasn't happy there when I joined it. And after a few months, I decided to leave. So, you know, it happened. And yes, during interviews, people ask me, hey, why are you changing job for the third time in 2 years? But to be fair, nobody really dug into that. And I explained people that, hey, like these jobs are not what I was looking for. I'm searching for something else. And I hope that your company can offer me that. And it was never a big problem for the interviewers. It was never a big problem when talking about the offer. Will job hopping always work for software developers? I've got absolutely no idea. Maybe in a few years, the market will be so bad that if you jump 2 jobs in a year, people will be very skeptical and you won't even get an interview. What I know right now, that it is not a problem. So I'm not saying that you should be jumping jobs just to get a higher salary, because there's always some ceiling, but also staying in a single company provides a lot of value. It allows you to grow as a software developer much more than jumping from one company to another. But if you landed in a company and you're not happy there and you're thinking, oh no, I've been here just 5 months, should I stay a year more? No, don't do that. If you are in an environment where you're not happy, even if you've just joined, even if you've been there only for a couple months, just move on and try to find a better place where you will feel that you're growing, where you will feel that you're appreciated, where you will feel that you can stay longer. And that's all for today, folks. I hope that you enjoyed this video and that you will leave a comment, subscribe to my channel and share the video with your friends. See you next time. Take care.